Hey, and welcome to another Tea Break Coach. You can definitely see a patch of blue sky, so I'm hoping that's going to get bigger as we're speaking. I wanted to chat to you today about this postcard. I invented this in lockdown when everybody was baking bread, if you remember, but it identifies a study that talks about failure and just how good failure is for us. And the analogy I came up with was that the perfect amount of failure is a bit like getting the right amount of yeast in your bread. Because if we have too much failure, if we stretch ourselves too far, you can imagine that a loaf, it kind of blows up and then it kind of explodes because it can't sustain itself. And that's the same for people. If we stretch ourselves too far and we experience too much failure, we're likely to pop. We lose confidence in ourselves because we've got evidence that too much has gone wrong. But not enough yeast in your bread, or not enough stretch in your life, not enough times where you kind of feel that you might fail and it goes a bit wrong and then you adapt. But that means we kind of dry up. The loaf gets really tense if you don't have enough yeast in it. So the idea is that, it's not very elastic, it's not very spongy. So that's the analogy I gave, because the perfect amount of yeast in the bread means that it gives a lovely rise, it's quite even inside, and the perfect amount of stretch and failure does that for us. We get evidence that we don't always have to succeed. We get evidence that when things go wrong, we can bounce back, and we learn more from failure. And a study that was reported in Science Direct, I'll put a link to it, actually looked at what the perfect amount of failure was to optimize your learning. They came up with the rather scary number of 15% failure. So just think about how much you're allowing yourself to fail. Something that I do every couple of years is deliberately pick something that I will fail at, that I have got no skill in whatsoever. And since my 40s, I've kind of made this a regular thing, and I can now stand up on a surfboard. I can now play the guitar and sing along to it. And I was not able to do any of those things, and I certainly couldn't do them for a long time. There was a lot of falling off the surfboard. There was a lot of practice, like daily hours of practice to be able to play even 3 chords on the guitar. I'm not gifted. But I can now do those things reasonably well, but only because I allowed myself to fail quite a lot. And my next challenge is I'm learning to ballroom dance. So over the next few weeks, as Strictly's on the telly, I will show you some videos of me trying. I'm going to do a show near to Christmas, which is going to be a surprise to my beloved mum. And currently, I'm still failing. I'm awful. So look forward to those videos, but I hope that 15% failure rate that's recommended enables you to try something today, because you might fail, but actually you will definitely learn something along the way.